residents are enjoying a decidedly more relaxed pace.
We rode our bike everywhere. We hung out with our friends outside all the time. Like, we were always outside. It was just that kind of town.
For 18-year-old student Brandy Stevens-Rosine, life is full.
She was into everything. I mean, she loved math. She loved English. She loved writing. She was into drawing. She loved orchestra.
You've been making a bit of trouble lately, and I just want to tell you that I know it's hard being at a base sometimes.
She was constantly playing music, making jokes. She was always joking around. Loved the music, so she could joke around with the music. She always laughed when she played music.
Let's just get it together, shall we?
Are you talking to your invisible friend?
No, that would be crazy. I'm talking to my base.
Maybe your blood sugar low?
Hey, do not try to pin my special relationship with my base on my diabetes. But, good reminder, thanks.
Grandma said you forgot this in the car.
Ooh, thanks, sis.
Brandy is playful, but takes some things very seriously.
Brandy was studying sociology at Youngstown State University. She did know that she wanted to go into a field that studied people, because she was good at helping people.
Brandy has moved in with her grandmother to be closer to school. Another in a series of big steps.
Here's the thing, I'm gay. I'm a lesbian.
She had a difficult time at first, like most people do. She was worried about what people would think about her.
But coming out wasn't as hard as she feared.
Mom, I have to tell you something.
Being her mom, I knew way before she did. And I never judged my daughter whatsoever. Many of her friends had no issue with that.
Brandy's a social butterfly and loves social media.
You look nice.
Wait a minute. Are you flirting with me?
Maybe.
When Brandy meets Jade Olmsted, it's a friendship that catches fire, and fast.
I like to have a signed contract with any romantic hopefuls.
Is that what I am?
What? Romantic or hopeful?
Or hopeful that you're romantic?
She met Jade on the dating site. They would talk all night long on date. All night.
It wasn't long until they decided they should meet.
I can't believe you're actually sitting here right now. It's surreal.
Well, I'm 100% real, I promise you.
But outside of the virtual world, these opposites aren't the most obvious couples.
Oh my god! I was a demon out there. Hey, I got a spare helmet.
Driving through dirt or watching X Factor. I think I made the right choice. Ew. Don't hug me.
Come on, you're so huggable.
Oh no, just take like 3 showers and then I'll hug you.
Brandy's adventures were her way of having fun, passing time. She enjoyed four-wheeling. She just wanted to go fast, so she loved speed and she loved getting dirty. It made her feel alive, I think.
Her new girlfriend is a more timid soul.
Jade was very quiet, didn't talk much, shy individual.
When I first met Jade, and Brandy brought her over for the first time, my first impression was that she was reserved.
So, Jade, it's nice to finally meet you. Yeah, hi.
Reserved and a bit of a copycat.
How about we go play Need for Speed?
Sure, whatever.
Yeah, or we could just chill out and listen to some music.
Whatever you like.
She would kind of be into the same music, the same kind of thing she did with her friends. She did that with everyone. Just because she wanted to be loved and accepted so much that she would do whatever it took to get to that point.
I don't think she was fully comfortable. I mean, she had her issues with herself.
Jade's struggle with her identity is long-standing.
Damn it, Carl. Don't make me say it twice.
Perhaps because of her upbringing.
Her dad was not the kindest man in the world. After she came out as being lesbian, he was not supportive at all. He was cruel.
Her family did a lot of drugs. There was never any food in the house. They were not cared for well. Brandy felt that she could help Jade.
Just get me to the bus station. Come on, let's go.
Jade had told Brandy it was a bad situation where she was staying, so Brandy'd say, well, you can stay with me. And that one night turned into 2 and 3, and then she was living there.
Brandy loved Jade. That's the bottom line. She loved Jade. She was in love with Jade. And she would do anything for her.
But once they're in close quarters, the romance isn't so rosy.
Jade started getting anxious. Jade wasn't working at the time. Brandy was going to school. Brandy was working nights at the time at Target.
How was your day?
Fine.
That was very hard for Jade because Brandy was never there. And Jade didn't have a car. Jade didn't have any place to go. Didn't have a job, didn't go to school.
Facebook. Again. Please, you post wherever you go, every single thing you do. Facebook, Foursquare, Instagram, every single thing. So why is it bad for me? Well, I'm actually going places and doing things.
The situation that I know is that Jade was just feeling restricted and that she felt like she was stuck.
Bye! Have a great day!
Jade left when Brandy was gone. She stole her iPod and $300 cash. She had nothing. She needed money to get wherever she needed.
I know that she did end up in Baltimore. She was down there with her family.
Brandy was very angry over the situation.
Heartbreak and anger are a terrible mix. But there are more treacherous sentiments brewing.
She was a very negative person. Very, very negative.
This was basically a love triangle scenario. There was jealousy at play.
She was just obsessed with pretty negative, dark things.
I'll always love you.
After an intense romance, Jade Olmsted leaves Brandy Stevens Rosine behind and takes Brandy's cash and her iPod with her.
She wasn't talking to her right after. They had, a fallout after that. I mean, they weren't speaking for a while. Brandy was hurt. Really bad. She was really upset.
It's for the best. But it sure doesn't feel that way.
You of all people. We'll meet a million more Jades.
But even months later, after the girls have resumed their friendship, Brandy just can't move on.
She loved her more than anything. She just wanted to come back.
And in spring 2012, her wish is granted.
Hi?
Hey.
She had told Brandy that she wanted to hang out and that she was having a hard time at home.
This was a terrible idea. They're just as screwed up as ever, maybe even more. Just please, come and get me.
Yeah, sure.
She had told me, well, I gotta go and pick up Jade. And I had asked her, I'm like, why? Why do you have to go and get this girl? Because I do. I have to be there for her. Why? What did she do to you? All the things that she had put you through and, everything that had happened, and you're just gonna push that aside and go and find her for what? To do it all again? And still, she said, no, I need to go. She needs a way to get back here.
You're literally a lifesaver. I know.
So Brandy went and picked her up, because that's Brandy.
But the reunion isn't the romantic one that Brandy longed for.
So, do you want to play video games? Or listen to...
Actually, I gotta go. Someone's coming to pick me up.
Seriously?
Once she brought back an hour later, she was already gone.
Jade runs right into the arms of an ex-girlfriend.
Ashley Barber and Jade Olmsted went to school together in Ohio. I think it was East Liverpool, Ohio.
Ashley Barber was Jade's childhood, or maybe first even, experience of love.
She was living with her mother and father. Ashley saw herself as maybe being a misfit, that she didn't fit in. She was heavily tattooed, lesbian, and I think that caused some problems with her parents, especially her father.
Ashley Barber carries her problems wherever she goes.
She was a very negative person. Very, very negative. She didn't have a lot of friends.
Brandy takes Jade's desertion badly.
I think that at first she was pretty heartbroken about it. She was very sad because she loved her a lot.
In fact, Brandy can't stay away from Jade.
Brandy kept a friendship with Jade while she was still with Ashley, and I bet she would go out and pick Jade up and they would drive around and hang out. At least a couple times while she was with Barber.
So she was moving on. She seemed like she was pretty happy, and Jade would get a hold of her every once in a while when Ashley didn't do something that she wanted to do, like buy her something, and Brandy would buy it her and send money.
Wow, Brandy. You spoil me. It's just really nice to see you.
I think at the center of the cycle is Jade, and here's Jade in a relationship with Ashley. With Brandy, who she knows she has in her pocket, will do whatever she wants, whenever she wants. and that's why she held on to Brandy.
Much to Jade's new girlfriend's dismay.
I imagine she lied to Ashley a lot.
Where'd you get the money?
And that's what got Ashley even more and more upset.
Brandy, right? Why the hell are you still talking to her?
Look, it's complicated.
No, it's not.
Ashley's jealousy is out of control.
She found out that they were in contact, and Barbara was really upset about it, so she started contacting everybody.
I've seen Barbara's comments on Brandy's posts and on social media. Vulgar language, calling Brandy useless and worthless and violent. Ashley would just hurl the bizarre insults, and it was ugly.
One time Ashley messaged me directly and told me that I shouldn't be friends with Brandy and that Brandy's manipulative and that she has everybody fooled. She had said, I hope I get the chance to kill her before her diabetes does.
Don't talk to me about Ashley Barber. I don't want to know. That's some crazy stuff she's writing. Just gotta rise above, I guess.
Brandy just said not to listen to them and that they were crazy and dramatic and to just let it go.
While Brandy is prepared to let it go, Ashley isn't.
They were both very controlling people. They were both very negative people.
She replied and said, be careful that the neighbors don't take very well to gay people.
It took everything I had to get in that car after talking to them. I did not want to leave.
Facebook. Again.
Brandy Stevens Rosine has been dumped by Jay Olmsted. Even worse, Jade's thuggish new girlfriend, Ashley, has been trashing Brandy on social media. Brandy shrugs it off.
She didn't really hold on to grudges. She didn't get too upset very often. She wasn't an angry person in any way. Just kind of go with the flow and happy.
Hi. Brandy.
After a while, it seemed like she was doing fine without her. She was dating.
Thanks.
16 months after the breakup, Brandy is almost her old self again, ready for anything.
Sure. Why not? I could use an adventure. Sorry, Gran, I got jet.
She told my mom that it was her best friend, Rhiannon, and she was going over to her house.
That same day, Brandy's ex, Jade, whom Brandy hasn't seen in weeks, takes Ashley to the hospital after a fall.
Ashley Barber posted pictures of bruises, all the bruises on her forearms, saying that she had fallen downstairs, so they had to go to the hospital.
As Ashley's minor injuries fill up her news feed, Brandy's postings on social media have gone very quiet. Too quiet. 24 hours after leaving her grandmother's, she's not even answering her cell phone.
Everybody really started to say, like, we haven't talked to her. Has anybody seen Brandy? Has anybody talked to Brandy? We, at first, had thought, like, maybe something had happened to her. She doesn't have insulin, doesn't have, like, money for food, water, something. If she doesn't keep track on what her sugar is, it could go low. We thought that she could be just in a ditch somewhere, thinking that she passed out.
Any news? No sign, I'm afraid.
I went to my mom's. I started doing some research on her computer. Brandy still was logged into a couple things. The one thing I found was Foursquare. So I found that, printed all that out of where she had gone. In the meantime, I'm calling everybody, all of her friends, texting.
Brandy's family calls her best friend Rhiannon to see if she knows anything. And they learn it was actually Jade she was planning to see that day.
The last texts that came from her were pretty suspicious. Seemed to indicate that she thought something may have been wrong.
On her way there, she sent a text to Rhiannon. And she said, this is where I'll be if anything happens to me.
Brandy's mom learns that the address is actually Ashley Barber's house, where Jade is currently living. But Jade says Brandy never showed up.
Jade and I were back and forth all weekend. Have you heard anything? She would ask me. No, I haven't heard anything. Have you heard anything? You know, you haven't seen her, you haven't, no. So Saturday morning, we filed her as missing. They upped it to medical missing persons because of the insulin.
Well, it's not an urgent situation usually for the police because adults have the freedom to get up and move.
Brandy's friend Chrissy decides to go on the hunt herself, going to the last place they knew Brandy was headed, to see Jade at Ashley's parents' house.
I was going with the hopes that I would see Brandy's car on the side of the freeway. Maybe she had parked and stumbled to someone's house and asked for help. I told her I'm coming out to your neck of the woods. She replied and said, be careful, it's bear hunting season. And also that the neighbors don't take very well to gay people. The feeling that I got on the road to the barber residence was just spooky, like my stomach dropped out, and it hasn't been the same since. I lost my GPS signal. I just felt disconnected, so I turned around and came home with more questions than answers.
With no news from the police, Brandy's family and friends step up the search.
Christy Horvat created flyers, and she just started throwing them everywhere. We were throwing them on social media, we were posting them everywhere.
With Brandy missing for 5 days, Carrie decides to pay Jade and Ashley a visit in person.
Carrie said, "Hey, you had that address, can you take me there?" When we came to the barber residence, the father was sitting on the stoop, and Jade and Ashley were coming from around the left side of the house to the front yard.
Hey, Jade. Came out here the other day, but my GPS failed. Took me to some field somewhere. Couldn't figure out where you were.
Where's my daughter? She said she was coming here.
Look, she never showed up.
But you must know something.
Listen, lady, you need to calm down.
And I'm like, I'm just trying to find your daughter. You have to understand. She has been missing for 5 days.
She said she was going to come to see you, and now all of a sudden, she's missing. It just doesn't make any sense.
Maybe she went to the same field you did.
And then at this point, Ashley Barber's dad got involved, and he said, "Well, if you put my address in a GPS, it brings you over somewhere else."
A lot of things going through my head. I could imagining the worst. Imagining that she just wanted to be alone, maybe, and is in a house and is hiding. That was far-fetched for Brandy, but, maybe she just needed some space. I really didn't know.
As they wind down their search for the day, a phone call will make them do a 180.
She said it was Jade, and I said, no, this isn't Jade. So something is wrong.
They see a pair of tennis shoes, and on the pair of tennis shoes, it looks to be blood.
Year-old Brandy Stevens Rosine has been missing for 5 days. So far, the police search has been fruitless.
Where's my daughter?
Brandy's mother, Carrie, suspects her ex-girlfriend Jade might know something. A suspicion that's quickly confirmed when she gets a startling telephone call.
Hello?
On the way home, I got a phone call and she said it was Jade, and I said, no, this isn't Jade.
This is Ashley, right? I recognize your voice.
Because I knew Jade's voice.
Brandy's car is here.
What?
You think best interest to come and get this car?
I said, whoa, wait a minute. We just left there. You told me she never made it there. You just need to come get this car and hung up.
Ashley's mother immediately calls the police.
The police then are informed by Ashley Barber's mother that, hey, there's a car here that we didn't tell you about the day before. I should have told you, but I didn't. They then do a registration check of the vehicle and find out that it is in fact Brandy Stevens' motor vehicle.
Soon after, local police contact Carrie and demand she pick the car up from the Barbers, even though it's a potentially incriminating piece of evidence.
My daughter's been missing for 5 days, and now all of a sudden you find her car?
I asked him, I said, what's in the car? Is there anything? The car's clean, completely clean. There was a gas can in the back seat. That's all that was in the car. I said, then there's something wrong.
It was never clean. Never clean. I mean, there was clothes in it all the time, drinks.
Her car was a pigsty. The girls told them that Brandy came there and left with the girl and walked with all her stuff down a dirt road to get a ride. I said, no. No, that did not happen, and I'm not coming to pick that car up.
Frustrated that the police are dragging their feet, Carrie takes action.
The next morning, I woke up. I wrote about what happened, about my daughter, what the state police had said to me, and told me to do.
Carrie posts her story all over social and news media pages.
Someone's gonna listen to me.
Even calling the FBI.
Within an hour from that phone call, I got a call from the state police stating that they were seizing the property and searching everything.
The police then decide they're going to go back and talk to the two girls, Ashley and Jade. When they go there, they're informed by the parents that they had left earlier in the morning and they're not there.
3 young women now missing. The investigation is about to move into overdrive.
The Barbers, the mother and father, allow the police to come to the home. They go into Ashley's bedroom, where Ashley and Jade had been living, and they see a pair of tennis shoes. And on the pair of tennis shoes, it appears to be blood. So right then they're thinking that foul play is involved.
A description of the girls is issued to local law enforcement.
Troopers who were ready to work that day were notified. Please be on the lookout.
And in a matter of hours, they're spotted.
Trooper Joe Straley was off-duty in his off-duty vehicle, and while he was driving, he saw two girls leaving the woods in an area that normally people wouldn't be in.
Turned out to be Ashley and Jade coming out of the woods, and offered to give them a ride and asked them to come to the police station.
And because Ashley was filed as missing, that was their way to get them to the station, because they needed to clear that up.
Look, I told you, I don't know anything.
I can't help you, I'm sorry. Actually, Brandy did come to Ashley's house for a bit. She only stayed for a few minutes. She said she was going to meet a friend called Jamie.
They contacted Brandy, asked her to come to Cochranton. She did come to Cochranton. She only stayed for a few minutes.
Jamie's picking me up, so is it okay if I just leave my car here for a few days?
Sure, why not?
Wow, I am just gross. I might just clean it out a little first.
And she said that they agreed, and that Brandy seemed very happy and excited to be meeting her friend.
Now all of a sudden Brandy made it there, but she took all of her stuff and walked down a dirt road to meet a friend who was picking her up. There was something that they were hiding. They were hiding something.
Police are considering the girl's story when Ashley makes an unusual request.
I have a lot to tell you, but I'm not saying anything until I get to see Jade. She said, I want to see her eyes. So that's when they decided they'd put them in a room together.
They maybe did something.
I don't know much.
We're listening to the whole thing. And they don't make any confessions or anything like that, but you can tell that they're scared. They're talking about going to prison for 20 years, making statements like that. And they knew that they were being recorded, and there's a big sign that tells them that.
As the girls whisper, officers at the Barber home notice tracks heading down the road where Brandy was last seen.
Some of the troopers smell decay in the air, and so they're starting to think that, hey, maybe there's a body buried around here, and that's when the troopers who see the tire tracks go into the woods. Unfortunately, they find the body of Brandy Stevens.
Beaver Township police came to my parents' house, and my parents came to my door at 2 a.m. And that's how I found out. I wasn't told anything. I knew. As soon as my mom was there, I knew she was gone, and I knew they found her. It didn't need any words. Nothing needed said. I knew in my heart.
This is not a missing person case anymore, girls. This is a murder investigation.
It wasn't us.
It was my dad. My dad killed her.
Me and her are happily making out. And I mean really making out when there's a knock at the door.
What's wrong with you? I know what's wrong. You're sick. You're disgusting. All of you.
Have the girls been protecting Ashley's father all along? Police don't know if the girl's story is true, but more evidence is about to come to light, and soon everything will be crystal clear.
It's very clear that this was a premeditated act. The level of brutality is unlike I've ever seen.
After police unearth the body of Brandy Stevens Rosine, Ashley Barber pins the brutal murder on her father. But investigators quickly find evidence that points in a different direction.
When the girls were found coming out of the woods, they both had book bags that the kids commonly carry.
Inside the bags, they find journals, and what they contain is horrifying.
In Ashley Barber's journal, it was discovered that she wrote on May 21st, 2012, that it actually felt good to claim her actions, and that she'd never felt so alive, never, and that just want to do it again and again. Why lie? I'm addicted.
But it's not just Ashley who writes about what happened that day. The girl Brandy loved also has plenty to say.
Jade explains that she told herself that she wasn't going to write about it because it is too much evidence, but the temptation not to get it out is just too much. Yesterday was the beginning of a whole new life. A life of torment, evil, blood-stained hands, and splattered clothes. I found my calling, a new addiction, something the world looks down on. But us, we crave this life.
I heard that Jade had written in her journal that she was proud.
Enough with the conjugal time. Get her out of here.
And at that time, Jade Olmsted finally confesses to what he did.
I read the journals. You want to tell me what actually happened?
Well, you already know, don't you?
When Ashley Barber finally confessed...
Oh yeah, that's it. We killed her. Both of us.
She was very cold, she was very matter-of-fact when she explained how she had killed this girl.
This is taking forever. Well, it has to last forever. Well, first we dug a hole. That took a long time. Are we ready for this?
I am. Are you?
Jade contacts Brandy, invites her to Cochranton, Pennsylvania to spend some time with her and Ashley. The plan is that they're going to lure Brandy into the woods and attack her and kill her.
You ever built a fort when you were a kid? It'll be fine.
Jade said that Brandy was apprehensive about going back there.
Okay, sure. Why not?
Ashley Barber then joins in.
Is this what you came for?
Jade begins to attack her.
Jade first. Then I landed a couple good punches.
And they're both kicking and punching her. That's what they described to the police.
Had a rope. I wrapped it around her neck and started pulling.
Ashley was strangling her, but it wasn't easy. I just remember a lot after I hit her with a shovel. Ow! Be careful.
Got a couple bruises myself. And then I think Brandy was more or less out of it after that.
Ashley Barber indicated that there was a bottle of water that they had at the campsite. She got the bottle of water and poured it on Brandy's face and nose, trying to drown her, trying to kill her.
Me and Jade are both terrified of being buried alive. So we thought. I thought the water would just help her die. And when it stopped bubbling, they assumed she was dead.
But she wasn't. Yet.
The forensic pathologist, Dr. Bay, did find some mud and dirt in her bronchial tree, and that led him to give his opinion that she was alive at the time that she was buried.
We gotta burn her stuff.
I know. But can't we just ride the high for a few minutes?
And when they cleaned out the car, they backed the car in that garage, and then they put curtains or blankets up covering the window so you couldn't see inside the garage, and cleaned out Brandy's car from top to bottom. They didn't have there to be fingerprints in it, and so they cleaned it out and got rid of a lot of her stuff.
They decided to go burn her belongings and hide all the evidence.
But the girls haven't emerged unscathed.
They're all bruised up, baby. How are we gonna explain this?
Ashley was bruised because she was getting hit by the shovel, too. Jade wasn't trying to hit her with the shovel, but she inadvertently hit her with the shovel because of the position of the bodies. She needed to come up with a plan to explain these injuries to her parents.
Are you sure? Said yes, just do it.
She faked like she fell down the steps and went to the ER.
And when police are alerted to the presence of Brandy's car, the girls panic.
It's in your best interest to come and get this car.
They really didn't know what they were going to do. I don't think that they had thought that far ahead.
Despite their obvious planning and clumsy cover-up, the girls insist the murder wasn't premeditated.
The girls claimed that this was an effort by Ashley Barber to scare Brandy.
I mean to. But I mean, he's abusing Jade. She deserved it.
Jade had made the claim in one of the interviews with the police that Brandy was abusive to her during the relationship. There's absolutely no evidence of that. She made that claim. There's no police reports. There's no other witnesses who ever corroborated that. And in fact, I don't believe it.
With the damning journals and the girl's confessions, the case is soon closed.
They ended up pleading guilty both to murder and first degree. In Pennsylvania, that's a mandatory life sentence, and they were both sentenced to state prison. It's highly unusual. You never expect that this is going to happen in Crawford County, Pennsylvania. The level of brutality is unlike I've ever seen, especially by two young people who had really no prior record with the criminal justice system.
And while the girls are forthcoming in their guilty pleas, there's one thing they never explain.
At no time did they really give a motive as to why they did it. I think it was their attempt to prove to each other how much they cared about each other. I believe that Jade wanted to show Ashley that she was committed to Ashley and that she didn't want Brandy in her life. And I believe that Ashley wanted to show Jade the same thing, that she was willing to kill for her love.
For Brandy's friends and family, no explanation could ever ease the pain of their loss.
I have this thing where I'm always looking for closure, and I've never found it. So for the same reason I went out to the barber's residence. I walked up to the back to the grave. I took a rock from the grave. I keep it in my car. You know, it doesn't bring Brandy back.
Brandy family opt for cremation and memorial bench in lieu of a burial for the most heartbreaking of reasons.
I bury her again. She was buried in Spain once. And her ashes right here. So she walks with me every day, and the idea behind that was Brandy was going to be in the courtroom, no matter what. She was on 3 next that day, or every day.